So
Right.
are you rolling?
Yeah.
Shh, Bubbles.
She wants food. Why don't you give her food? Because you give her food.
Come here. I'm just going to do
Okay.
that. Here.
And Bubbles was with us.
Yeah. Hi everybody, my name is Kamila. I'm a Polish filmmaker based in Dublin, and I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing Jason Wynne. We talked a lot about shunning. We talked about Jason's background as a Jehovah's Witness. We talked about our families in a way that you should probably get your tissues ready, and we talked about I think the purpose of your activism in a way that maybe, I'm hoping, hasn't really been discussed before. Am I right?
I think so.
Yeah. I am so excited to share this interview with you. It has been such an amazing pleasure to speak to you, Jason.
I know the pleasure is all mine. I think I enjoyed having you. I'm glad that you asked me to do this. It was great.
Thank you. And I just want to say to my mom, randomly, Mamo, kocham cię. Thanks. I know it's weird, but okay. How did you become a Jehovah's Witness?
Right. My mother got involved with the Jehovah's Witnesses quite by accident, just as they were calling door to door. At the time, she was trying to set up her own library at home. She had a few books and she wanted to fill it out. And the Jehovah's Witnesses, two ladies, who she's still very close friends with, called to her door with with a book called Truth. That leads to everlasting life, and she took the book. Now she didn't read it; she just put it into her library and thought, "Oh, that book looks good there." But the two Jehovah's Witness ladies kept calling back, and they kept calling back and said, "Have you read that yet?" In the end, she just goes, "I better read that book." So she read it, and as she's reading it, she starts saying, "Oh, this is the truth." Now, my mum would have been a very religious woman. She grew up in a very religious Catholic upbringing. I mean, they did the Angelus every evening at 6 o'clock, just before the news started. They'd all kneel down and do the Angelus. So when she read this book and it told her that hell doesn't exist, well, this was an absolute relief for her. So then she started studying. By the time I was age 2, she got baptized in 1979. And me and my siblings, I've got 2 brothers and 2 sisters, all of us kind of grew up in a religion. My dad never took to it. I kind of got more involved in it when I was about 9. A Jehovah's Witness young man brought me door to door, and I kind of loved it. And then I got baptized at the age of 18. So that's how I was brought up in the religion.
You loved going door to door at the age of 9. Tell me more about it.
Yeah, so there was a 17, 18-year-old boy who would have been a pioneer, a full-time preacher within the Jehovah's Witnesses. And his family are a lovely family, I have to say, and he was a really nice young man. And he had gone to my mum and he said, "Would Jason like to come door to door? I can bring him door to door one day." So I was so excited that this fella was taking an interest in me, and I couldn't wait. So it was one Saturday, he picks me up from the house and the two of us went to do door to door. Now, we didn't go doing the normal doors. He had a whole load of return visits, so we went from one side of the city to the other side, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and he had a serious dose of the runny nose. That's one thing that I just remember, is he had a runny nose. But he gave me a kind of an enthusiasm, and he got me to do a couple of doors, gave me a magazine, told me what to say, and I developed nearly instantly an interest in the Bible, and wanted to kind of go around and tell people about the Bible from that one episode of going door to door. But before that, I'd never been on a door. So from the age 9, I got more enthusiastic. When I go to school, I was very enthusiastic. I learned off all the books of the Bible, which I can still recite to this day. I think there's an awful lot of Jehovah's Witnesses like that. Some can even sing them. Actually, I think I could sing them. I can't sing them because I think when I was 14 at school, someone asked me, "Can you do the books of the Bible?" I said, "I can't. I can. Not only can I tell you all the books of the Bible, I can sing them." And he goes, "Oh, go on then." So the whole class is listening to me, and more so just kind of making fun of me, but I didn't care, as I sang the books of the Bible. And yeah, I was very vocal about my beliefs, very strong in my beliefs. Jehovah's Witnesses, not Jehovah's Witnesses, but My friends at school would always make fun of me. There was two other lads in my school in the same year as me that were Jehovah's Witnesses, and they couldn't take the slagging. So in secondary school, by the third year, both had gone. I went through to fifth year and then to Leaving Cert, and in Leaving Cert I had three of my friends come up to me and say, Jason, we want to tell you something. And I go, oh, this sounds ominous. And they go, no. They said, look, we slagged you off for 5 years about you and your religion and your faith, and we just want to say we admire you for standing up for what you believe. He said, look, these other two Jehovah's Witnesses, they couldn't stand and they couldn't stick, and they left the school in third year. But you stuck through it. You put up with all our slagging, and we respect you for that. And I go, wow, thanks very much. At the time, I'm looking at that as, well, I gave him a good witness.
Tell me about what happened the years following your baptism. How did you find your life as a Jehovah's Witness? What were your goals at the time, and any challenges as well around that time?
Yeah, I don't know why I got baptised at 18. I still look back and think I was too young, because I didn't experience life enough. Although I thought I did. I thought I was one of the most mature young fellas for an 18-year-old. And maybe I was in certain respects, but not... If you ask me now, at 42 years of age, I'm a mature person, I would say I've only recently become mature. My outlook in life has changed completely, especially when you've got a wife and children. But after the age of 18, getting baptised, I didn't feel that change that they all tell you about, that the Holy Spirit comes upon you and that the Satan is going to attack you. That never happened to me. And I was kind of a bit disappointed. I was hoping that something would challenge me, and nothing did. And then I left school early, you know, as most Jehovah's Witnesses do, and I went cleaning. And I didn't particularly enjoy it, and I found that even the elders that I'm working with are trying to exploit me, except for one particular elder who I had a very small part-time job cleaning windows with him. And on one particular occasion he says, Jason, you're too intelligent for this. I said, yeah, but I might go pioneering. He says, Jason, you're never going to go pioneering. And I go, how do you know that? He says, Jason, I'm the secretary. I've seen your times. It's not in you. It's either in you or it's not in you, and it's not in you. And he goes, I go, so what should I do? He says, well, maybe you should get a proper job. And I find that kind of strange that I should get a proper job. Should he not be encouraging me as a secretary to get more involved in the ministry? But no. And I have to say thank you to that gentleman, I won't name any names, for helping me to see that, yeah, I should go into a proper vocation. So he brought me around to different factories, and we went and put in applications, and I got called for a number of interviews. Didn't work out with a couple of them because they asked that question, where do you want to see yourself in 5 years? And I'm like, I'm only 20, where do I want to see myself in 5 years? And I was like, I want to run the company. So never got the job. But then one particular job, they were asking me questions, and they could see that I was intelligent, but the job was quite tedious. It was just a floor operative. And they go, but do you not think you get your mind, you go to mush or whatever? And I'm like, no, this is perfect for me. And they kept going on. I'm like, no, I can do it. No matter how tedious, I'll be able to do it. So they believed me. They gave me a job. And within being in that job for a couple of months, I got to meet a whole load of people and found that these worldly people aren't as bad as we're being told to. They're actually really nice, I was thinking. And I built up a number of friendships, and including one with a girl. And I was only about 2 years baptised, and then I was disfellowshipped. So I was disfellowshipped in 1997. But then, because of the way you're indoctrinated as Jehovah's Witnesses, you start to feel extreme guilt about your situation, and you think, well, you know what, if Armageddon comes, and you know, you need to be making things right with Jehovah. So I broke it off with my girlfriend and made steps to get reinstated. But I got reinstated in 1998. But you always find that you're always kind of left as an outsider. There's always some individuals in the congregation that see you as bad association, or see you as someone that they should limit at least their association with you because you've done something so bad that you're disfellowshipped. And you find that a lot of these people are just extremely judgmental people. When I look back at them, I kind of think, well, they weren't the type of people I warmed to anyways, which is fine. Any ones that I did have a good relationship with are still good people, and they're the type of people I still miss. But anyway, I got disfellowshipped again. I went through a severe bout of depression for about 4 years. From 1997 to 2001 when I got disfellowshipped again. So I got disfellowshipped again for fornication. But with fornication, the second time, the first time I didn't go to my judicial commission meeting. They called one that said to set one up, but I didn't care. I said, off you go, do it, whatever. Disfellowship me, I don't care. Second time, I was sorry, I made a mistake, and it was all drink-related fornication. And so what I did was I went to the Judicial Commission meeting, and I thought, because you're told in the magazines that if you're repentant, you'll be forgiven. What I didn't realise is that it's not that straightforward. But although the magazine, the Watchtower, kind of makes it look like it is, and that the elders always make the right decision. So I was repentant, but I was still disfellowshipped. I didn't know then, but I just thought, well, first of all, they asked me extremely invasive questions about my sex life. I didn't know why they needed to know that. I thought all they need to know is that I committed fornication. I've admitted fornication, and I'm sorry for it, and I don't want to do it again. Maybe you can just reprove me, and you know that you're dealing with it. And I'm suffering very bad from depression, and I need help that way. But I found that I got no help from for that. There was no humanity in the system. It all seemed to be, how did he or did he not commit fornication? If he is, we're going to disfellowship. Did anyone find out about it? Did you pray to God about it? Were you forthcoming? Were you lying? All these type of things. And it seemed that there's more to what's going on here that I don't really understand. And I couldn't understand why they wouldn't want to help someone that is begging for help here. Instead, they just want to kick him off out in the street, and he has no one. He has no friends. He left no family because now he's disfellowshipped. And that really bothered me. That bothered me more than anything else, because I thought this is God's organisation, and God is about protecting his sheep. You know, they talk about the 100 sheep and the one sheep going stray, and they'll go to all lengths to find that lost sheep. But no, they didn't. Instead, what they did was they took the sheep that was straying away, and what they did was they picked them up and kicked them, threw them into the bush themselves. And while he's in there, they got the hammer and they kept banging him. That's not God's organisation. So
no,
that's why I never returned.
You made me cry.
Sorry.
Where does this need for this extremely invasive questioning come from among the elders? Why? Because I hear it over and over, you know, the level of invasive detail is mind-blowing. Why do they need to know, you know, whether if a girl had sex with somebody or if a guy had sex with somebody, you know, did he come inside or did he pull out his penis before?
Right, it's kind of, we need to understand the mentality about the organisation, right? First of all, in how they deal with sin. Sin within the organisation is graded. So, you know, you can be a drinker and that's fine. You can be a drunkard and no one finds out. That's fine. But if you're a drunkard and it's seen by a lot in the congregation that you're a drunkard, well, then you have to be kicked out. But when they bring you into for a meeting regarding being drunk, will they ask you what types of drinks are you drinking, how much are you drinking, and where you're stashing them and all this sort of stuff? No, they won't ask you that. They will be talking about how people are seeing it, that you've been at parties and that you were stumbling over and all the rest. And for that reason, we have to disfellowship you. But you clean up your act and you can be reinstated within 9 months to a year, right? So that's fine. With adultery, if there's they have reason to be suspicious, maybe a wife will come about their husband, they might sit in the car outside and watch as he goes into some house of some sister or some randomer, and if he's in the house, they will then decide, well, he's committed adultery, even if they can't see it, right? But it's a bit strange that why are elders sitting outside in the car watching someone doing the private business, even if it is wrong according to the religion, it's none of their business. I mean, if someone wants to come forward about being an adulterer, that's up to him. I mean, at the end of the day, doesn't God see all, and God is going to judge us at the end of the, as the Bible says, judge not lest ye be judged. But yet the Jehovah's Witnesses are very interested in the sex lives of their members. So that leads us into the fornication. So the fornication is the only one in which it's two independent people that can come together and have a sexual act together that is really should be only between those two. And if they're not harming anyone, it's between them. And if it's wrong according to God, it's between them and God. You know? But the Jehovah's Witnesses have an elder manual, Shepherd the Flock of God, and in it is they talk about porneia. The strange thing with porneia is they have to figure out whether it is porneia or not. Because if it's not porneia, you're not going to be disfellowshipped. It could be something else, just like heavy petting. That's fine. That's not porneia. You know, you could have just touched her boobs, or she could have just fondled your genitals, some sort. That's not porneia. It's when the penis, it's nearly like I'm talking to first graders, but the penis into the vagina, well, that's porneia. But how far did it go in? Did they just rub up off each other or not? That's not porneia. So everything's getting so technical about the sin. You see, so the whole religious aspect is gone out the window. We're not talking about religion anymore. We're talking about technicalities. We're talking about the technicalities of what is and is not a sin. And once we can figure that out, then we can decide how to judge them.
Which, if you think in the context of a judicial comedy hearing, where often or always it's the one person, the sinner, against a committee of 3 members being questioned like that, I'm struck by this thing where a person coming in for a judicial comedy hearing has no one with them. They have no right to bring a person to morally support them or emotionally support them. It pisses me off. In any court, when you go to a court, you have people on your side with you.
Well, it's a little bit worse than that, because even that, you are told, and the Watchtower say it over and over again, that you have to trust your elders and you have to trust their decisions. So you go into that judicial committee meeting very naive, trusting the elders that they're doing the right things. And then when they're asking you, where did you put your penis? How did she hold her penis? Did she willingly do it? Did she spread her legs? Did you fondle her? Was there fellatio? Any of this sort of stuff? These are the type of questions they're asking in a judicial committee meeting. If there's anything I can say to any Jehovah's Witness that's asked to come to a judicial committee meeting regarding fornication, do not go into that meeting. Let them hold it, let them disfellowship you if you want, but do not go in. Because once you go in, you've given them control to control the narrative and control your life and make decisions about your life. And not only have they made decisions about your life, they've gone and interfered and they've become extremely invasive about you and your life and about your personal life. They have carnal knowledge, which I think is wrong on all levels, because carnal knowledge should be between you and one other person, or a number of persons if you're that way inclined. But it should be only between those involved in whatever act you're involved in, not between 3 guys that one might be a window cleaning, the other could be a plasterer, the other could be a machinist, and the other guy could be fixing wheelchairs. And I'm talking about the 4 fellas that were in my judicial committee meeting. That's what they were. And I'm telling you, those guys, one of them particularly, I think he was getting off on listening to him. Why? Because he's in a wheelchair. Now the man's dead. And am I glad he's dead? No, I'm not glad he's dead. But what I am glad is that he's not around to be able to do it to anyone else.
You said you broke up with your girlfriend, you had no desire to do it again, you felt mad with yourself. But the experience of the judicial committee and being told you were being disfellowshipped, how did that affect you? How did you feel leaving the room where you had your judicial committee? Do you remember?
So I came out of that room in tears. I remember being just in our Kingdom Hall. There's a small room where they had the library, and then they had the hall, and they told me to go out and sit in the Kingdom Hall. So I remember just sitting in the middle seat, and I'm in tears rolling down my face. I couldn't stop them. I went into the bathroom to blow my nose a couple of times, while they're in the back room determining what they should do. And then eventually they called me back in and told me, look, we've decided that you're to be disfellowshipped. I just came out of that room completely and utterly dejected, but I was suffering very bad from depression, and I was talking to my brother-in-law, and he says, Jason, you have to appeal it. And I said, can you appeal? He says, yeah. He said, I've heard of people appealing them before, so you should go write a letter and tell them that you're appealing it. So I said, all right. So I wrote a letter and said I'm appealing it. And when I remember handing that letter to the elder, which was the presiding overseer at the time, called coordinators, the body of elders now, he was nearly like offended that I was appealing it. Like I should just accept their decision. So I was kind of glad that I did appeal it. And another thing, I kind of regretted appealing it because 3 new elders now came, and now I have to tell the whole thing all over again to 3 new elders. So the guys I'd never known didn't know from Adam, and then I was even worse. I was in a worse state. I remember being absolutely bawling, crying, because I went through the whole invasive process all over again by men I don't know who were inquiring about my sex life. So they came back and they says, no, we agree with the original things. But sure, I didn't know how the whole this appeal process works. And I was kind of a bit shocked that these guys are all meeting together. So the 4 lads were there, but they're in another room while I'm in with these 3 fellas. And then afterwards, they're going and meeting these fellas, and they're all chatting together, 7 fellas, about me and my sex life and my life and how it's going to progress from here on out. So I came out of that meeting not just upset, but extremely angry. And then my brother-in-law says, you're going to have to appeal. You have to go appeal to the branch. I says, look, I've had enough. I says, I can't handle this anymore. I says, I'm not mentally able for this depression. Or it's just, these guys, it looks like they're more interested in getting rid of me than actually keeping me as a member. And who wants to be a member of a club that they don't want you as? So, no, enough's enough. So I didn't go appealing anymore. I let them off, made the decision. Now, the strange thing is that the decision it wasn't made. Like normally the decision is made a week after that. They didn't make that decision. I mean, those judicial committee meetings happened in early October, but they didn't disfellowship me until November 1st.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think there was a lot of branch involvement in my case, because I then I did a data access request in 2017, 2017, and they provided me with S77. My S77 says I was lying. To put down fornication and lying. I never lied. Something is not right. Something else is going on, and they don't want to admit what was going on.
In the months and years following your appeal that failed, did you have anyone to support you? How did your daily life look like? How did you manage?
Okay, there's one episode of my life that I remember, and I look at the time I didn't realize what was going on, but I look back now and I realize exactly what was going on. So I was a firm believer. I just thought this is something between me and the elders in my congregation, that it's unique, that they just handled it really badly, and if Armageddon comes, I hope God judges them as bad as he'll have to judge me, because these men are just as much reprehensible as I am for whatever went on. So I then met who's now my wife, Marilyn, and she's from Germany, and I went over to Germany in 2006, and I lived there for a month. And I remember being in a pub downstairs in Alexanderplatz. There's an Irish pub there, and I was sitting up at the bar. And she started asking questions about Jehovah's Witnesses, and then she was saying that they were a cult, and I turned to her and I said, you do not say another bad word about Jehovah's Witnesses. There's nothing wrong about Jehovah's Witnesses. I said, look, there were bad things that happened with me, but it was with me and with my elders, and you never say anything bad. I said, And one other thing, you are best leaving me now. I said, because I'm a broken ship. I says, it'd be easier now for your life if you walk. You walk now, and everything shall be fine for you. If you don't, it won't end well. That's what I said to her. And she was in tears, and she says, I'm not leaving you. She says, you're a good person, Jay. And she stuck with me. She's a good person. My wife's a good person. And I knew then, I didn't really knew then, but I knew a couple of years later that, yeah, I'm the best woman in the world. This is a person that's willing to live for me, and she can see the good in me. Even though my religion has walked away from me, this person wasn't going to walk away just as easy. She said, I'm going to stick around. And she did. And you know, things weren't rosy in the early years. I did fulfill the expectation that things won't go well, and things didn't go well. We did have our problems, but she stuck by me. And she sticks by my activism. She has nothing to do with it, mine, but she does believe in what I do, and she does think I'm making a huge difference. And I think I'm making a huge difference.
I'm bawling my eyes out here. I'd say, listening to you, it makes me think of those people that we have in our lives. You have your wife, I have Barry, and all the other people who left Jehovah's Witnesses and found support and love elsewhere. To those people, we really owe thanks for being the antidote to suffering of shunning, don't we?
Yeah.
Even though you were disfellowshipped twice and treated really badly, you, for at least 10 years, if not more, remained a disfellowship but a deeply believing Jehovah's Witness, which is fascinating to me. What was it like being on the outside, while I suppose in your heart you wanted to be in for 10 years?
Well, it all started with the Judicial Committee meeting in 2001. That's where it started. But there was a 13-year period where I'm completely full believer in the Jehovah's Witnesses, thinking Armageddon's going to come any day soon. And I remember even in 2014 saying, 2014, something major is going to happen. I remember writing it on Facebook, and all my friends thinking, you know, it's 100 years, it's definitely, that's the end of it. Oh, now I just think how naive I was. And I'm having all these religious conversations, and they were all interesting, and I'm always thinking I'm winning them, but I'm never really listening to what the other person is saying. I'm only finding my argument to be able to counter their argument without listening to their argument. But that's what Jehovah's Witnesses do. It's not like we're right, we've got the truth, we know what's right, what they're saying is wrong, what we're saying is right. And if the discussion went on and they would kind of win it, or they would get a good argument in, that would initiate my cognitive dissonance, and I'd get so angry, and then I'd go away and I'd be thinking sometimes, especially if I'm driving or if I'm in bed, and thinking about what they're saying, and I'm going, you know what, this whole Bible thing and everyone talking about they're right and they're wrong, you know, who knows who's right anyways, do you know? So you're having this mental thing going on, and I think that's probably was slowly festering in my mind, and then I was getting to the point where maybe Jehovah's Witnesses don't have it fully right. But I put that thought to the back. You know, it's not something I need to dwell on, because we need paradise. I mean, look at this world. God didn't just put us here for nothing. There must be a reason. So that was going on. So then my relationship with my wife was getting on. So then we got married in the registry office in 2011. I only invited a handful of very close friends, and it was only a small thing, and that was grand. So we got married legally, but then we wanted to have a proper marriage in Germany. And why we wanted to have it in Germany, because Marilyn's grandparents were still alive and they couldn't travel because we're quite elderly. So I invited all my family over to go over, extended family, the whole lot, to go to Germany. And none of them came. Not a single member of my family came. Now, I had 3 friends that came, but no family members that came. And what happened was, my mum came to me in June 2012, came out to my house, and she said, I want to have a chat with you, just you, as in not Marilyn or the kids, just you. So she comes out and she says, Jason, look, I've decided that I can't talk to you anymore, that this will be the last until you return to Jehovah. And I really love you, and you're my most favourite child. And some other things just to throw in the guilt. And I just said to her, Ma'am, that's your decision. If you feel that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. So it was in June 2012, my mum stopped talking to me. Up until that, from 2001, 11 years, she chatted to me at least once every 8 weeks. After that, it was gone. And I just thought, wow, just before I'm getting married, you're invited to my wedding. So Jehovah's Witnesses don't shun. Well, what is it when someone says that I'm not going to talk to you anymore until you return to Jehovah? That's shunning. You know, when you go to an event that was organised where my brother was going to win a wedding, and my mum is invited to it, and I'm invited to it, and my mum and sister made it sit on one table, and I made it sit on another table completely. And then when I leave, I left at the same time as my mother, just coincidentally enough, and we're both walking out of the car park going towards our car, and my mum just completely ignores me that I even exist and hops into her car, which was parked right beside my car. That's not shunning. Jehovah's Witnesses don't shun. If Jehovah's Witnesses didn't shun, I wouldn't exist and do my activism at all. But because they do shun, and they really do make the members shun, and they make over 8 million members shun. And if you ask any Jehovah's Witness, I doubt that there's a single Jehovah's Witness on this planet that doesn't shun someone somewhere. No, Mum wouldn't watch it because I think it would upset her. I don't think she'd watch anything I do because I think it would upset her. But I do think she hopes I win. I think she knows fully well what I'm at. And she's hoping beyond hope that I win. And what do I mean by win is that I can get the Watchtower to change, that I can get them to put it in the magazine, that parents can talk to their sons and daughters if they so wish, and to their family members if they so wish. Leave it as a conscience matter.
Jason, if your mum watches this, theoretically, is there anything you'd like to say to her?
Just that I love her very much, and that if the Watchtower did change, yes, I would go back talking to you. I'm not holding this against you, Mum. I wouldn't be holding it against her. No. She's doing what she thinks is right, because the Watchtower, she believes, is God's word, a secondary word. Whatever is written in that is gospel. And so if they change the doctrine, she'll go along with that too. But she would hope that she hasn't caused irreparable damage to her relationship. She hasn't. I understand why she's shunning me, and that's why I don't go near her. I don't try to text her. I don't call her. I don't even know she lives. She moved house. I don't go find out. I don't ask my brothers and sisters, and they know why I don't ask, because I don't want to feel that. If you had the phone number, like the number's taken off my phone, there's the chance that you might talk to them. So I don't want to talk to my sister. I don't want to talk to my mum until they can willingly and freely talk to me. I founded the website Avoid JW on the 23rd of October 2014. While I'm working on that, an individual wrote something on Facebook. He says, would you like to get reinstated within 9 months? And if so, PM me. So I PM'd him and I says, how can I get reinstated within 9 months? And he goes and explains the whole process. This is what you have to do and this. Oh wow, that seems easy enough. I might do that. He said, because it might be easier for me just to get reinstated and then fade. And then have even my sister said to my in-sister said to my other sister, she says, why doesn't Jason just get reinstated and then just stop going to meetings? At least then we can all talk to him. And my sister said this to me. And I said to my sister, I says, do you think I'd do that? She goes, well, why not? I says, Rebecca, listen, why would I do that? I would have absolutely no integrity to myself. Why would I get reinstated? I'll not go and do something that I completely disagree with, because one, if I get reinstated, or going through the whole process of it, that's me saying that the elders are right in what they did. No, they're not right. They were wrong. And what they did was very wrong. It was morally wrong, it was religiously wrong, it's biblically wrong, it's everything wrong. And for me to go and get reinstated is saying, do you know what, I don't mind. You can do that to me, you can do that to everyone else. You can do it to the thousands, the millions of Jehovah's Witnesses if you like. No. No one's allowed to do that to anyone. I don't care who they are. So then I'm saying to Marilyn, I'm nearly having second thoughts, maybe I should get reinstated. She says, Jason, if you get reinstated, I'm leaving you. She said, I'll put up with an awful lot with you, but the one thing I will not go for is I know all the things that this organisation has done to you. And what they've done to you is evil. And if you go and join this, you can go and live in that evil place yourself. But me and the kids, we're going. And I go, wow, this good lady has gone through an awful lot with me, and she's going to, and I just know by her tone, she will. So now I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. But then I'm thinking, no, I have a good place. I have the support of my wife and my kids. I have the support of my friends all on this side. I have a lot of friends, a lot of good friends. No, what we do is we do it the other way. We stop the evil. If we stop the evil, then it doesn't happen to anyone else. I get to keep my family. My family that are currently shunning me have the opportunity of having things changed so that maybe they can talk to me. Now, if it doesn't work out, fine and well. At least I tried. I did the right thing. I didn't return to something that is inherently evil. Now, when I'm talking about the religion, I'm not talking about the religion as being evil. I'm talking about certain processes, and that process is shunning. Because shunning is related to everything evil within this organisation. It allows the cover-up of child abuse. It allows the ability for men with wrong intentions to be able to control members of congregations. It allows the organisation at the highest level to be able to exert a control over its members that is psychologically, morally wrong and evil, and that has to end. And what happened in the Catholic Church? Well, if you look at Ireland is a good place to look at, because in Ireland what you had was people were believing the church for years and years, but then slowly but surely the truth came out. And what have we now? We don't have Catholic Ireland anymore. We've secular Ireland. And it's becoming more secular. Yeah, people will still remain Catholics. A lot of people will still remain Catholics. And I think what's going to happen with the Jehovah's Witnesses is they're going to be found out. And it's going to be found out right up to the top level, to the governing body. And when that happens, good people don't abide by evil acts. Good people will revolt. And that's exactly what I think will happen. And what you'll have is you'll have a fall off of Jehovah's Witnesses from an organisation that they didn't have to do. They could easily solve this problem. Stop following what the Catholic Church do. Say, yes, we do have a problem. We want to admit it now. We want to say that we have a problem. There's a problem with abuse within the organisation. There has been a system of where we've been covering it up and we have been moving people around. And yes, we have used shunning to be able to exert it, but we're now going to change that. And we'd like forgiveness. And let's move on from here. And we apologise for all of those victims that we've done horrible things to. And we're going to set up a redress scheme to help these people out. Now, you might be thinking, well, you're talking out your butthole here, Jason. That'll never happen. And maybe it won't happen.
Do you think the Watchtower will ever apologise?
Well, they're trying their damnedest not to. You look at Jeffrey Jackson in Australia, and he goes, are you God's one organisation? Well, that would be very presumptuous of us. And then he says, I'd like to take this opportunity to convey my love. Not apologise, convey his love. Oh, really? So, I mean, it's just token gesture. It's not even a token gesture. I mean, that's actually very, very disrespectful to survivors. And not just survivors, but people who are still victims. Because there are still victims, and there's people being victimised right now as we speak. within our organisation. So to say we love them, I mean, the governing body go on to the broadcast all the time, we love you. That's nearly like, you know, Pope John Paul II, young people of Ireland, we love you. We love you. Yes, you did. And you've been abusing us for years. Governing body, the same thing. You've been abusing children for years through your policies. And don't think it's going to go any different for you than it has for the Catholic Church if you go and follow them exact thing. If you do follow the exact same process and think that there's going to be a different result, you're just an idiot.
Is it fair to say that the ultimate goal of your activism is really to stop the shunning?
Yeah. I tell you, if shunning ends, I disappear. Gone. You'll never see me again. Now as an activist, you might see me in a different light altogether.
So you don't wish harm on Jehovah's Witnesses or the governing body?
No, I want them just to change one thing. Change one thing, that's it. The only thing I want them to change is the shunning. Get rid of it. No need for it. It's a very easy thing. Just write a watchtower. Call it Watchtower 2019 May edition. You know, so last May, the 2019 May edition of last year was all about child abuse. How about the May 2020 Watchtower be all about ending shunning? We've new light. Shunning can end because we've had a new interpretation of 2 Corinthians chapter 6. And from there we realize that there's no steps that you need to take. In fact, if you stop doing whatever it is you're doing and we see it ourselves through our own processes, we can reinstate you. Because anyways, you can't be kicked out of Jehovah's Witnesses, because once you're baptized as a Jehovah's Witness and you've dedicated your life, it identifies you as a Jehovah's Witness. Now they've changed the baptism questions, but the thing is, it's still saying that a baptized Jehovah's Witness is one who identifies as a Jehovah's Witness. So unless they annul the baptism, I'd be interested to see will they annul the baptism. So unless they annul it, meaning that you'd have to get re-baptized, then you're still always going to be a Jehovah's Witness, because there's no way to, unless, you know what they might do? They might bring in the Catholic form where they just put a bit of water on your head, new light, and that'll be easy. So the first time it's full immersion, but the second time, because you were baptized before, we're now just going to put a bit of water on your head, anoint you again as a Jehovah's Witness. But you know what? This religion is an interesting one, and because they can just come up with any new light that makes it plausible, and you know, most people don't like thinking. They just go and just eat it all up, and they're always going to have Jehovah's Witnesses like that, and that's fine too.
Thank you so much.